Good morning, YouTube family. Today is October the 22nd, Wednesday. October the 22nd, Wednesday. Reason why I'm letting you know, family, is that I've been gone for a while. Let me give you a little background into what happened to me personally. I was involved in an automobile accident, but your boy hung on in there. I got my eye hit up against the steering wheel, and it was swollen like Mike Tyson had caught me with a left hook. But now I'm back in stride. Everything is good. I've been getting a lot of calls, want to know when was the show hitting the airwaves again. I was letting people know what my situation was, and they understood. And so now I'm back. As they say, I'm back, baby. And I'm going to let you know about a contest I'm starting today. For all of you guys that down below can write a comment and give me your thought on who's going to win the World Series. I know everyone saw Shohei Ohtani hit 3 home runs, strike out 10 as the Dodgers beat the Milwaukee Brewers. Let me know if the Dodgers are your choice, or is it going to be the Toronto Blue Jays? Now, the Blue Jays got a guy that once was with the Astros, George Springer, and George is knocking the cover off that ball just like he did when the Astros played the Dodgers. So he likes playing the Dodgers. I'm going to go with the Dodgers, though. But one more time, down below, let me know who you guys think is going to win the World Series, and you could become a guest visitor on the show. One more time, the person that chooses the winner, or maybe the persons that choose the winner of the World Series between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers, will become a guest host on the show. For your life, health, auto, home, retirement needs, please contact Rose Insurance Agency. I'm always here for the call. Down below, as you always do, write your comments. Also, write down who you think is going to win the World Series. Now, jumping right off into things here, as you know, we are kind of like HBCU dominated. And so we'll be talking about the CIAA, the SIAC, the MEAC, and the SWAC, of course. And so what we're going to get it started off with is with the SWAC, right off the top. Believe it or not, my alma mater, TSU, has won 4 games in a row in the SWAC. They have a 4-1 SWAC record. Their only blemish is the loss to Prairie View, 22-21, which we had that game won. But hey, you got to give Prairie View their flowers. They hung in there and they pulled the game out. But I think that if we could play them again, it would be different. But can't do that. So let's go with the standings right now in the SWAC. As it stands right now, we got SWAC, we got Jackson State, Alabama State, Alabama A&M in the East. We got Prairie View, TSU, and actually, I don't think Alcorn won a game in the West. They beat Mississippi Valley. So actually your 2 competitors in the SWAC West is Prairie View and TSU. And TSU has a big game coming up next weekend when they play Alabama State. They go to Alcorn comes to TSU. So let me get all that together, because I know I confused you. I confused myself. So TSU next week is going to play Alcorn. Prairie View beat Southern last week. And so Prairie View is in the driver's seat. They just about don't have anyone to challenge them now, because I think Grambling is an afterthought. They've already taken care of them. They only have, I think, maybe Valley and UAPB on the rest of the schedule. And so we have Alabama State, Alabama A&M, and Alcorn. I think The one to worry about is Alabama State. Alabama State has an ex-TSU player, Andrew Body, that's doing his thing, which we spoke of his virtues and performances on the last show. He is 100% now, and he looks like his old self, as he did when he came to TSU his freshman and sophomore year. So we got nothing but love for Andrew here. As I said before the season started, I got nothing but love for Andrew and his family. They're good friends of mine, only when they play TSU. And so I'm hoping that we can do that thing when we play them. But let me go into the schedule for this week for the SWAC. And as I always tell everyone, even in the CIAA, the SIAC, and the MEAC, if you are in the vicinity of a black college football game, you just do not understand the help and the morale you give the players, the coaching staff, and the school when you buy a ticket and attend the game. These young men play just as hard as University of Alabama, University of Houston, and USC, UCLA, any major school you can think of. These kids put it on the line just like they do. So if you have an opportunity to attend an HBCU game this weekend, please do. Both of the universities will appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Mississippi Valley is at Alcorn at 2 p.m. I'm going with Alcorn. I think Valley is improving, but I'm thinking at home, Alcorn will probably beat them. UAPB is at Bethune-Cookman. Now, here's a school, Bethune-Cookman, that has made a nice rebound from the last 2 years, first 2 years of being in the SWAC. Bethune-Cookman has a nice offense that scores a lot of points. They actually scored a lot of points against Alabama State, but you can't get into a touchdown thing with Alabama State now with Andrew and the people that he have available. So I look for Bethune-Cookman to kind of put it on UAPB this week. They're going actually to Daytona Beach, and if you ain't got your mind straight when you go to Daytona Beach, you thinking about the beach. But Bethune-Cookman has improved immensely. They have a good offense. They're scoring a lot of points. So I got Bethune-Cookman against UAPB, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Lincoln University is going to Prairie View for Prairie View's homecoming. And I'm looking for Prairie View to blast through them for homecoming. And if you never attended a homecoming at Prairie View, you might want to do that if you're an ex-Panther. I saw Coach Jackson on the news yesterday. One more time, today is Wednesday, 10/22, but on 10/21, Coach Jackson was asking for all the Prairie View alums to buy a ticket and attend the game. All the RV spots, all of the tailgate spots are taken up at Prairie View. That's one thing they're going to do. They're going to show up to barbecue and party. But he wants them to buy tickets to the game. You know, Prairie View's leading the West and is probably going to play J-State for the SWAC championship. I hate to say that because TSU we've already lost, and if we win out, we still ain't going to make it because Prairie View has beaten us. And so that's going to be the tiebreaker. And I don't see anybody else in the West beating Prairie View. So Prairie View against Lincoln University. I got Prairie View by a bunch. FAMU is going to be at Southern. Southern is in all kind of turmoil at this particular moment. They just fired their coach Graves. He just was there. And let me talk to you for a minute, family. A friend of mine and I, we were talking about how these PWIs, predominantly white institutions, can fire a coach in the middle of a contract and absorb that money and then get another one. For instance, Coach Franklin at Penn State just got released. They owe him $49 million. They'd rather pay him off than to give him another year or so to see what he could do. And he has a great record. After 10 years there, has a 10-year winning record at Penn State, been to 5 major bowl games, and they get paid at those major bowl games. So he's been making them money the 10 years he's been there. But they decided they wanted to go another direction. But my point is they ate a $49 million payout. Now, my friend I always used to say that the HBCUs can't do that sort of thing. But for some reason now, it looks like Southern is showing me that TSU, you may not be able to do it, but here at Southern University, we got a little money. So Southern is already playing a coach that they had Dooley, that they had prior to Graves, paying him $300,000 to buy out his contract. He gets $153,000 a year. This year and next year would be the last year for buying out his contract. Now they're gonna have to buy out Graves. Graves was making $250, so they got to pay him out for this year, and next year they got to pay him the $250. Or they may split it like they do in Dooley's, $125 and $125. They still got to pay it. Here at TSU, there were a few years ago before we got our last coach, there was rumors in the background about our present coach at that time needs to be let go. But that wasn't going to happen because we're not in a position to eat contracts. So this was something that was unexpected to me to see them fire Graves. But it shouldn't have been because they fired Dooley and owed him money. But this guy just got here last year. And so Southern wants to win. I can admire them for that, but they only gave that guy like a full year, like a year and a half to get it turned around. And it just didn't work. Didn't work. So Southern has fired Coach Graves, and I got FAMU is at Southern, and so Southern should be a total wreck. I got FAMU winning that game. But one more time, Southern has put the interim coach, Fred McNair, as the head coach, and he has a winning pedigree. So it's not going to be a blowout, for Southern and FAMU if McNair can get the players' ear. They may be tuned out for the season by now because they had definitely tuned out Coach Graves. Prairie View beat the brakes off of him, and the week before that, somebody beat the brakes off of him. So I'm going to go with FAMU against Southern until they show me they got it back together. The G-Men are playing Jackson State and Las Vegas. I'm sure when Vegas made up that contract, they was hoping that Grambling would have a good year. And I tease my homeboy all the time that attended Grambling and played ball at Grambling, went to the Cowboys. I said that if you guys don't start winning pretty soon, Grambling's going to become irrelevant. And I think they're on that path right now. They haven't won a thing. Texas Southern beat them last week. And so I think that Jackson State is going to run through Grambling and Las Vegas. It'll be a good trip for the kids. But the crowd that would have been there if Grambling had a winning team, I don't foresee it. But I'm still hoping, one more time, all you brothers and sisters in Las Vegas, go support the HBCUs. Go to the game and see. You never know. Go see Grambling play Jackson State in Las Vegas at 5 p.m. this Saturday. And by the way, it's going to be on HBC Go TV. Alabama State is at Alabama A&M. That is going to be a barn burner there. That's the Magic City Classic. It used to be played in Birmingham, so I don't know if they're going to each other's campuses now. But it's used to be played in Birmingham Stadium that sits 70,000. Now I think they reduced it down to 50. So it should be a good crowd there because Alabama A&M is on the rebound, but they've won a few games. And Alabama State, as we all know, has number one scoring offense in the SWAC. Andrew has got 19 touchdowns. So as compared to our quarterback having 7 and other quarterbacks 5. Now, Jacorian Morgan, the one at J State, has 11 touchdowns. So he's doing a great job at Jackson State also. So, but I'm picking Alabama State against A&M. TSU is off this week. Now, over in the CIAA, you got Winston-Salem University, a crucial match playing Johnson City State University. And they're playing for lead in that conference. And by the way, let me go ahead and give you the standings of CIAA. Now, a lot of you people may not have heard of these schools, but trust me, in the East Coast, they're well known, and these colleges have been around. These colleges are 100 years and older. Virginia Union is 4-0 in the CIAA. Fayetteville State is 4-0. Johnson City State University, last year's conference champ, is 3-1. Virginia State is 2-2. Bluefield is 2-2. And Winston-Salem is 2-3. They're not out of it by chance. If they can win this game, it goes a long way for them getting back in the standings because Virginia Union still has a lot of teams to play. They got to still play Fayetteville State, and they got to play Johnson City. Johnson State University. So Johnson C. Smith State University. Now going to the MEAC, you got North Carolina Central leading 5-2. Delaware State. Let me stop, family, and talk about Deshaun Jackson, the wide receiver that played with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's now the coach at Delaware State, which when he was hired, people shook their head like, Deshaun Jackson? What do he know about football other than being a player? But Deshaun Jackson has gone to Delaware State and turned them around. Delaware State, right at this particular moment, is 4-3. And this is a big game, and they're playing against North Carolina Central. None of the schools in the MEAC have played a conference game yet because, the MEAC now only has 6 schools. So they've been playing their non-conference schedule. And so now they're getting ready to play the conference schedule. So Delaware State is playing North Carolina Central. And that is the big game of the week for that conference. SIAC, you got Benedict University or Benedict College. Benedict College in Alabama is 6-0. Albany State is 5-0. Kentucky State is 5-1. Those are the 3 players in the SIAC. So that's going to be a good one. And speaking of that, Miles College is in the SIAC. But Miles College, about 2 years ago, had a 2-year run in the SIAC where they may have lost 1 game. But now it's Benedict's chance, opportunity to make a run. And Benedict, 3 years ago, had a good squad, had a good run. Matter of fact, their coach, Seamus Berry, became a hot commodity, and that's why he's now at South Carolina State. Seamus Berry is. Now, in the SIAC, one more time, Benedict, Albany State, and Kentucky State. So what we're going to do now, speaking of the colleges in the SIAC, Miles College out of Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, just gave Cat Williams an honorary doctorate degree. Let me give Miles College their flowers for that. Because Cat Williams has been see, people don't know it because he doesn't go around talk about it. Cat Williams gives money to a lot of HBCUs. And Miles College is one that he's given a lot of money to. Now let me alliterate that he now is getting ready to purchase, if he has not already purchased, a Fort McClellan, an Army base in Alabama. And if you can remember, that's the same thing that Tyler Perry did. Bought a big, large ex-military base and turned it into a studio. Cat Williams said he's going to do the same thing, turn it into a studio, and he's going to be aligned with Miles Colleges for all those kids that they're taking communications, journalism, or whatever. Now they'll get an opportunity to work with him on an actual film and studio setting. So I think it's a great thing that Cat Williams is getting ready to open up a film studio in Alabama, and he's tied it into Miles College. And I'm sure at some point he's going to probably reach out to other colleges in Alabama and give them an opportunity to see what they can do. And so that's a great thing that Cat Williams, one more time, I think the base name was Fort McClellan. And he got his honorary degree one more time from Miles College. Okay? Now, let's go with the leaders in the SWAC. You got number 1 defense, Prairie View. Defense wins championships. Offense scores the points, but defense wins championships. Prairie View, number 1 defense. Jackson State, number 2. And number 3 is TSU. Alabama State is number 4. And all 4 of those schools are in the running for the playoffs. Alabama State and Jackson State for the East, Prairie View and TSU for the West. So you got to have a defense. Now, what we're doing on offense is you got Alabama State, number 1 offense, and then you got Jackson State one more time. Yeah, you got to score points, but you got to have a defense. And Alabama State and Jackson State are doing both of them. We're going to talk about last night. We're going to go to a situation where when basketball for the NBA started Tuesday night, basketball started with the games of Houston Rockets versus OKC, the defending champs. They received their rings. They had a great ceremony. And the Rockets were right there to the end. But a foul here, a missed free throw there, and they lost the game by a point. But I'm happy because they've shown that that's their first game they've played together, a legitimate game that's a real game that counts against the standings. And they took OKC to the wire. Could have won. And then you had Golden State beat the Lakers. And so the Lakers, the old Begaboo, is the same thing it's been over the last 4 or 5 years. Defense. They don't play no defense. They play it in spots. I read something today where J.J. Redick, the coach, was like, the third quarter keeps killing us. It killed us last year, and it's killing us this year. We play a good game the first half, come out the third quarter, and the team takes off in the fourth quarter. We're playing catch-up. And it's hard to do. When you're playing catch-up, that's why I say if you can get way ahead on a team, football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. It takes so much effort just to try to catch up. To whereas the other team, they don't have to keep that same stride they had for the first 3 quarters. If they can just go 50%, they're going to beat you because you had to go 80%, 90%, and you can't do that for a whole quarter. So one more time, the 2 games last night, OKC and Houston, OKC won. Golden State and the Lakers, Golden State won. Check your listeners tonight, Wednesday, and I think all the teams are playing tonight. So that's going to be exciting that the basketball season, NBA, has started. And what I want is, down below again, give me who your thoughts are on who you think are going to win the NBA Finals. Let's start off with the NBA West and the NBA East. The West, I got OKC, Rockets, and Denver. Out of those 3. In the East, I got Boston, I got New York, and Indiana might can make it. Now, that's just at the beginning of the season. As we go on farther, we'll look and see who has matriculated up in the standings. Here in Houston, we had a presentation last week for Texas Southern University Hall of Fame inductees, and I want to definitely introduce that because there were some people involved in that I know personally, and I am so proud of them for being able to be inducted into the Texas Southern Sports Hall of Fame. First of all, you had Ray Carrington inducted from tennis. And I tell a lot of people now, we don't have a tennis team, Texas Southern University. They'll talk about them getting another one together. But when I was at Texas Southern back in the day, Texas Southern dominated tennis. And you had Texas Southern going to white university tournaments and winning or either battling for the championship. Ray Carrington was one of those members of that tennis team. Great tennis team. You have Gaylord Davis. Gaylord Davis, all you need to do is be from Houston from back in the day, and you know who Gaylord Davis is. A great player from Wheatley High School, when Wheatley High School in a 4-year period might lose 2 games. Might. I ain't say they lost 2. They might lose 2 games in a 4-year period of time. This guy was so automatic, I took it for granted until he came to Texas Southern. I used to go see him in high school, and I just thought he was a product of the system that Wheatley High School had. Wheatley basically was a press from baseline to baseline. They ran up and down the floor. They was 10 deep. And I just took for granted that Gaylord was just a product of that system until he got to Texas Southern. And he works just like Chris Paul, how Chris Paul worked that elbow in the top of the circle, free throw line. If he missed, it was news. This kid come down on the break, stop at the foul line, the top of the circle, and shoot. It was automatic. And so Gaylord Davis is inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Nathaniel Gillespie from Jacksonville, Florida, was inducted into the Hall of Fame as a coach. Now, Cliff Gillespie played a whole bunch of sports. He played football, tennis, and basketball at Texas Southern. He got inducted as a coach for women's and men. You had Cortez Hankston Jr., inducted for football, went to the NFL, played with the Saints. John Hartfield, track, Olympian. You have Dr. Charles McClellan, our past athletic director for Texas Southern, past athletic director for Prairie View, but he was inducted as an administrator. Johnny Means, here's another thing, family. Back in my day, Texas Southern had a swimming team. And Johnny Means was the swimming coach. Yeah, and they kicked Penny Rump. But we no longer have the swimming or the tennis. They're talking about, once again, getting those in. But Johnny Means was inducted as a swimming coach. Cassandra Rivera in golf. Yvette Wilson Scales as a supporter, meaning that she showed much love over the course of many years of contributing to Texas Southern athletics. You got Thomas Sy. Thomas Sy was a great running back for the Texas Southern in the early 2000s. You had Denise Taylor, basketball player inductee. Linda Weekly, a track inductee. And you had Fred West, that was on that national NAIA national basketball team. So Fred was part of one hell of a team. That team was about 10 deep for Texas Southern, Coach Moreland. So those are the inductees for Texas Southern Hall of Fame. And you had Coach Graves from Southern University get replaced, let go, and Fred McNair is now the new interim. You got James Franklin at Penn State was let go. Gillespie at University of Florida was let go. And Deshaun Foster at UCLA was let go. And so these schools are, I don't know where the money is coming from, but they're letting them go and they got to keep playing them. And they are. So let me go here and see what we got going on here on the next one. Give me your thoughts on the Texans, on what we're missing. At one while I was saying the first few games that CJ seems to be going backwards to me. His decision making is slow. For instance, the game Monday night when the Texans played Seattle. I know he was under duress the whole game, but as he was backpedaling and they was rushing in him, we got lucky that we didn't get a safety. I was steady saying, throw the ball away, throw the ball away. It looks like he was brainstorming, he didn't do it. But we got lucky and didn't have a safety on that. I'm looking at, and it may be wrong for me to rank him with certain people, but these guys, Josh Allen, the guy at Tampa Bay, and we know what Lamar, Hubert at San Diego, these guys do anything necessary to keep the chains moving. A lot of times, to me, it looks like CJ will look left, look right, and sit and wait. Take off. If you don't give us 7 yards, take off and slide. Keep the chains moving. That's my opinion. And I'd like to know your opinion. Now, I know the offensive line is spaghetti, where you can just run right through them. But that's on coaching and the general manager. You had 2 years to get some offensive players in here. You knew you was letting Larry Tunsil go. Why didn't you try to get you an offensive tackle? You got all these rookies in there. It's okay if you got an offensive tackle and he's a rookie and he's a monster. But you can't have a rookie in there and he's getting beat every play. Seattle just had their way. And don't get it twisted. Seattle has a wonderful defensive front. But, they're not supposed to be in the backfield every play. Can't you block a guy one play? So let me know what you think about the Texans. I just, until they get the offensive line right and get the offense right, I don't see us going anywhere. But one more time, let us know what you think about on the Texans. And speaking on football, I got these Dallas Cowboy fans that, they done won a couple games in a row. They're going to the Super Bowl now. That's going to be the talk. Yeah, we going to the Super Bowl. But I do like their offense. They're starting to come around. Defense is sporadic, but let me know what you think about them. And for me, right at this present moment, I'm looking at Buffalo, Kansas City. Who's your team, Shaylin? New Orleans. Well, Shaylin don't have a team. he said he from Louisiana, so he a Who Dat. He a Who Dat fan. He whispered back there, family. Y'all couldn't hear him, but I'm a Who Dat. Speak out loud and tell us you're a New Orleans Saints fan. He's shaking his head, family. He don't want to say it because they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. New Orleans isn't. So I'm looking at Super Bowl, maybe Kansas City. Who got the great record? I thought the Washington Commanders was going to be in there, but they're starting to slide because the guy's hurt, the quarterback. But I'm going with Kansas City. You can never get over Kansas City, and you got Philadelphia and Detroit, and so those teams are going to be dynamite. One more time, family, let us know down below who your pick is for the Super Bowl now so we can see as we progress if you were right. In baseball, which I've already discussed, you had a heroic feat done by Shohei Ohtani. This is an American game, and you have a Japanese player that is the best player in the game. 10 strikeouts, 3 homers. He had won out the stadium. This guy is MVP the last 3 years, probably going to be MVP this year. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. Let that sink in. Generally, a guy that hits 50 home runs don't try to steal no bases. He just trots around them. But this guy got 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. He had an injury to his shoulder, so at the beginning of the year, he didn't pitch a lot. But when they needed him to close out the series against Milwaukee, 10 strikeouts. So you got the Brewers were beaten by the Dodgers, and the Blue Jays beat the Mariners. You got University of Houston beat Arizona, but they lost to Texas Tech. I'm still happy with what Coach Fritz is doing at University of Houston, and I see it every time when I talk about University of Houston. Yeah, I mention University of Houston because one more time I admire them for the early 60s when no other Southwestern Conference schools were recruiting black kids. They did. And that's why the Southwest Conference kind of didn't want them in for years. And even when they let them in, they put them 3 years, it may have been 4, before they could actually start playing. But when they did start playing, they started spanking the Southwest Conference. And what it did was make Southwest Conference start recruiting black players. So I always give University of Houston their flowers, always. So University of Houston beat Arizona, and one more time they lost to Tech. This weekend they play Arizona State, last year's defending Big 12 champion. So it's going to be tough for the Cougars, but I'm hoping they can pull it out. Then we got, hold on here. We got one last couple of things we're going to talk about. Mr. Womack is the broker and president and CEO of Womack Development Investment Realtors, a private minority-owned full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage firm. Over the years, he has been known to be a respected community businessman and partner and has received many awards. Now, he sells real estate everywhere, but his specialty is right here in 3rd Ward. This guy can get it taken care of for you. I want to let you know right now that next week, we already have lined up a guest, Texas Hall of Famer, sportscaster, radio host, Ralph Cooper. And so make sure you tune in. Down below, I want you guys to write a comment on what you think you would like for me to talk about in the future. Also, write an expression of you would like to be the guest host. I've had 2 guest hosts on the show already. You see the merchandise that we have available here. Text me at sportstalkwithfatlarry@gmail.com so that you can leave your size. I'll have your email address and we will get back to you. We just sent out the last few orders of them. We're picking up on people purchasing the t-shirts. I have exposed today the long sleeves to let you know that we have the long sleeves and the hoodies. So it's getting ready to get cold, so we got you covered. So one more time, hit me at sportstalkwithfatlarry@gmail.com so you can order you a long sleeve. If you'd like to get a short sleeve, you can. A long sleeve or a hoodie. Also, I'm getting to the end. Also, what we got going on is we want to know, what do you think about HBCUs going to white conferences? Tennessee State is in the OVC, Ohio Valley Conference, them in Hampton. And these conferences are shaking up every day. Matter of fact, there's talk of OVC breaking up. And so there are people that love Tennessee State and love Hampton that are telling them to get back into a black conference so that when these conferences start splitting and going to other conferences, OVC took you, but these other conferences may not take you. Get back into the MEAC, where Hampton and Tennessee State was independent. But actually, there's talk that the SWAC is trying to get Tennessee State to join. And I think it would be a tremendous get for the SWAC if they could get Tennessee State. And I think it would be tremendous for Tennessee State. You got travel, you got all the Alabama schools, you got the Mississippi schools, you got the Louisiana schools, you got Arkansas right down the street from you, Pine Bluff. I think it would be a great thing for Tennessee State. Let me know what you think below about Tennessee State joining the SWAC, and also what you think about Hampton going back to the MEAC. I think it's a good deal, and make sure before we get away that you hit that like button, you subscribe, and you smash that bell so every time a show comes out, you'll be notified. And got one other campaign that we're going to have going on. I want you to go down below, write a message that tells me why you think you should be the guest host. And me, and only me, will pick you depending on what you tell me on why you want to be the guest host here on the show. I really had a good time with the 2 people that actually did come on the show, and one of them was quite knowledgeable. And so I'd like to have someone on the show with me. So as always, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. It took a minute for me to get back on the air due to my accident, automobile accident and injury, but I'm back in stride again, baby, and look forward to seeing me real soon. Until then, peace out.